Hello, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Johnny Baghead, as always, and yeah, we're back with Silent Hill 2. We're not. I swear I had a sleep last night. Okay. Maybe I'll try that again. Hello, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Johnny Baghead. And we're back with Silent Hill 3. There we go, that was better intro. It's perfect. Okay. So yeah, we're back with Silent Hill 3. We're doing... Okay. The plan was I was going to do the UFO ending. Until I looked up how you get the UFO ending. And it turns out I probably don't have the requirements to get the UFO ending. We have one on, but I want to see how it looks when we get in game. So I'll leave on the screen for now, so we shouldn't have to worry about the attract mode. So yeah, turns out you need to get a lot of kills to unlock the Heather Beam. I think it's like 300 or something. It's a lot. It doesn't have to be in one playthrough. Oh man, that does not stop the attract mode. It can be on multiple, but it's a lot. So we're just going to go through. I'm gonna try and probably get the bad ending. There's like a secret bad ending you can get on the second playthrough. Plus, we'll go through. There'll be some new. There should be a few new weapons to check out. There'll also be. Turns out I missed some of the little extra scenes you get if you have a Silent Hill 2 save file. So we're gonna go after those as well. I've got my notes here, but yeah, we actually missed a ton, even one in Heaven's Night that I forgot to check. So we're gonna go for those. Hang on, I'm just gonna make myself look pretty. Yes. Attract mode on this game. So yeah, so we're gonna go through that, and we'll try and get this ending. I'm not gonna try too hard. It's one of those things where, oh, you have to take this amount of damage, but there's no way to know how much damage you've taken unless you know how much the health value is worth. So I think we're just gonna go through. If we get that ending, we get that ending. But the primary thing is we're going to go for as many kills as we can. Now I think I can do normal because I believe there's a weapon that I've unlocked, and if we do normal, that kind of helps out because that's an opportunity to take damage. But I'll stick to riddle easy, so it's gonna be normal this, easy this. There will be a hard playthrough of each one at some point. I think when I'm trying to unlock the UFO ending, that's not the it's not the time to do a hard mode playthrough. But okay, here we go. So yeah, I'll be skipping all the cutscenes, by the way, just in case you think, no, don't worry, this is no cutscene playthrough. Aside from these anything extra we'll watch, obviously. Oh yeah, so when you do New Game Plus, you don't do the nightmare sequence, which fair enough. There's no point to. Okay. So I want to get past this bit, and I'm just gonna. Hang on. Okay. I think for this game, blend works the best. Right? That's what I've swapped to now. We're in blend. There's linear. Actually, maybe linear looks okay. We'll see. Well, this is linear we're on right now. Yeah, I think linear looks okay. Yeah, okay. I thought we did. So, here we go. We also have the Heather shirt. We'll equip that. And there we go. So, okay, so yeah, I'm gonna just turn my preview off for now, just to save on resources. So, this is what we've got going on. Whoa, 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 whoa. And then maybe at one point whenever we stop, because I don't know how quick we're gonna get through this. There's a ton of codes. I might need someone to help me look them up because I don't have any of my browsers open right now. But there are a lot of codes, so no, we don't have a map. Someone mentioned there was a way of zooming in. There we go. Look at that. I didn't know about that. So yeah, there's a way to zoom. Though it's awkward, so when you're holding the camera button, you have to click in both sticks. So yeah, so we're basically just going to kill every enemy we can. Oh, broken lock. Skip all the cutscenes we can. And just have a chat. Just see how people are doing. Oh, they swapped my... What are you looking at, Heather? Just looking at their body, are you? Okay. So yeah, we're just going to go through here. Okay, so I believe if we're going for the possessed ending, it's... I forget if there's a specific amount, but you just have to get a lot of kills, basically. It's just a poster. Big deal! Something about his face is a little creepy. The Revolt of... Ah, it's a bit too blurry. Okay, well, we unlocked the door there. But I want the map, because I'm hopelessly lost all the time. So, yeah, just every enemy we encounter, we're just going to murk. Just see how it goes. Okay, there is one thing I'm going to change. So we're going to go to the extra options menu. Apparently it was 2,000. See, this is the problem with the fucking internet. I looked on other websites and it said it was 2,000. There we go. That's something that was bothering me throughout the playthrough. In Silent Hill 2, when you went to the map screen, it was like this, and then you press the button to zoom out, and they swapped it for free. Yeah. No one can agree, apparently. Oh. Okay, looks like we might have to do some aiming with this. Okay, let's check the doors we didn't check yet. How's so yeah, so how is the game audio right now? Considering this is going to be a playthrough with going out throughout the whole thing, that will give us some idea. Oh, dog. Okay, this, I guess I didn't use it much, but it seems with the, maybe it's just with the unlimited version, but maybe not. Okay, we're on floor 1. You do have to kind of aim it. Oh, that's the wrong door. Oh, that's been a thing that's been going on recently. It's a YouTube. There's a couple of YouTube. I don't know if it's just one YouTube video or if it's multiple, but there's this thing going on where I'm not sure what's causing it. Just seems to be people who are pissed off for some reason, and they're trying to make this point that, oh, Team Silence developers changed a lot throughout the years, so so people shouldn't say, oh, Team Silent were the best, oh, only they made the good Silent Hill games, because the team was inconsistent. But like, people aren't idiots, they know that, but there were core people who were involved in most of those games. Yes, Silent Hill 1's director, he like director, producer, whatever, he left, but yeah, Masatori Ito, Hiroku Owaku, there's another guy, and Akira Yamaoka worked on Silent Hill 1 through 3, and there's people who worked on Silent Hill 1 and 2, there's people who worked on all 4, there's people who worked on like 2 and 4, or 1 and 4, like, I don't know what point they're trying to make. Also, you can mention like Jeremy Blaustein did translation and some direction work on 2 through 4 as well. So it's like, yeah, we get it, but that's like saying, oh, there's no Metallica because they've had like 3 different bassists, and Dave Mustaine was in the band at some point. It's like, well, no, you can still point to like key members, you know, or oh, there's no Pink Floyd because once Syd Barrett left. It's, yeah. I think what it is that they're trying to frame it as like, oh, we're just talking about the development of things, but it seems to be coming from a point of view where people don't like the way people talk about the series and say like, hey, these other developers tried making Silent Hill sequels and failed. Only these original developers really got Silent Hill. And obviously that's something you can never say with absolute, because you have to wait for it to actually happen. That's a random segue. Clarice. Yeah. No, I've never watched the original. I've just watched videos about it because, hey, that's NC's fault. That's not mine. Yeah, I don't know if the regular submachine guns like this, but you have to do some amount of aiming, it feels like. But that's fine. Still looking at the door. So yeah, I guess that's the point they're trying to make. It's like, oh, but there are key people who were at Team Silent for all 4 of those games, or for the vast majority of the games, and admittedly, that's because most of them left at Silent Hill after Silent Hill 3 was done. As far as I know, yeah, I've not heard anything about the PC version having endings missing or anything. Okay, yeah, that's the key we need the tons for, but we've gone in a slightly different order. Honestly, considering how many kills you need, this might be something where you end up having to do multiple playthroughs even to get the UFO ending. We'll see. Maybe, but also maybe if you're keeping count, you could just, when you get to the town, you can just run around and enemies maybe... Actually, I don't know that. I've never thought about it. If enemies constantly respawn in the town, or if it's not like that. If there is a set number. It's so dumb. Yeah, that's probably a decent way. Okay, that door's locked. Right, here we go. I forget which one it is. If we... Okay. Flamethrower. Okay, we won't get it this playthrough, but when I go through this playthrough, we'll get it next playthrough, because apparently... Crispy Toasted Dead. Oh, that's different. That wasn't like that last time. I did read somewhere that apparently some stuff is slightly different on the next playthrough. But I could swear that wasn't like that in the first playthrough. I think it just said it normal. That's really cool. Apparently the underpass area has some very different stuff that actually makes it harder. Okay, so we're just going this way. But, yeah, here's the thing. I think if you're someone who is a big Silent Hill fan, and you talk about, oh, Team Silent did this stuff and that stuff, you know that the teams were, you know, people changed throughout the games. But you also know that, and you probably are someone who recognizes that Silent Hill 4, though, still does a decent job of being an authentic Silent Hill game. It's the one that's the most flawed. It has the most faults. And a lot of that is because most of the key dev team weren't involved in it. It was made not exactly the same time, but development was going on at the same time as 3. And, you know, the people who were working on 3 made 3, and then they were like, okay, this series is done. But I mean, I think that goes, if you're trying to argue, oh, there's no Team Silent, and so anyone can make a Silent Hill game, it's just like, if these in and out people, you know, people coming in and out of the company were making them, then anyone can. I think the fact that so many key devs either left Konami or, you know, just stopped doing development in general when Silent Hill 3 was done, I think is kind of, that goes against it. That's like, no, that's a clear sign that you can argue there is a Team Silent. Also, yeah, I turned blood up, so we're getting more blood as well. Okay, so we got that key, which I believe is for that door. Let's see why I remember, because it has been almost a week since I finished this. Shame it does. Shame. I think I mentioned it last time. I don't think the weird cheat codes you got for getting the dog ending in Silent Hill 2. I don't think any of that stuff's here. You remember the mini map and the save anywhere? Oh, that'd be cool if it was here. I know there is a health bar and stamina bar you can unlock. Okay, so here's how they changed this puzzle on easy. Less of the books fall down. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you don't even have to rearrange the ones that are there. And it's a short code, 327. I actually don't mind going through with the easy puzzle stuff. Just, I think it's interesting just to see how they tune them differently. Oh, there was a 1 there. Whoops. It's fine. Nope, I ain't got time for you, lady. Okay. Check these doors. I bet they're locked. Yep. Just gives me a peace of mind, no, just to know. And oh, there's one more door. I'm pretty sure this one's locked too. Yeah. Okay, what else we got going on? Here we go. Oh, those Game Awards are ever threateningly creeping towards us, threatening us with all those Silent Hill rumors again. No, again, my main stance on the Silent Hill rumors has always been, we've been hearing so many for so long. So I'll believe it when I see it. But also, I can't hope they aren't real. Because... oh boy. It's just... I'm not sure what it would take for me to stream the Western Silent Hill games. Like, what I would have to do to be okay with doing it. Origins, fair enough. Like, Origins is... at least has some attempt to play like this. It has issues in the gameplay. Like, quite major ones, to be frank. Because, okay, yeah. The submachine gun you do aim with. Oh, this reminds me, when I was looking up, like, the secrets and codes and stuff like that, one of the websites I found was Silent Hill Memories. And they mentioned, in the extra options menu, one of the things you can do is turn off the noise grain. And they phrased it in a really weird way. They were like, oh yeah, use the noise grain to make the game look as good as possible. It's like, no? Like, the game's designed to have a noise grain. So turning it off doesn't make the game look better. Silent Hill 2 especially, if you turn the noise filter off, it looks quite rough, honestly. There we go, got an ampoule. We'll just save. We'll do some save rotating just to be safe. Okay, what doors have I checked? Right, let's go this way. Right, let's see. I don't think I have. I haven't missed the mooshed. I don't think I've missed the flashlight, but I'm starting to feel like I might have. But I didn't think the flashlight was a missable object. See, this is how bad my memory is, that I actually don't remember how you get the flashlight. Well, I do remember how you get it, I just don't remember when you get it. I don't think it's missable though, because it shows up in cutscenes. I was curious actually. We'll try this as well. We also got the flamethrower, so this is what we got for killing more enemies with guns than with melee weapons. Well, fighting, because kicking counts separately. So we'll try this out. Oh no, all locked. So let's see. Oh no, okay, so there's only one way we can go. Guess I'll check that elevator just to make sure. So yeah, so Origins. So Origins decided to have basically Dead Rising system of having weapons that break, and they're all like weird household items, and it just doesn't really suit these kinds of this style of horror, and especially in that game because there isn't a limited inventory you level up, you just have infinite pockets, so you can just carry around hundreds of crazy large items and weapons. Oh. Wait, come here. Actually, the flamethrower seems to kind of suck. I think the main difference is you don't have to hit them when they're on the floor, but it seems kind of pants. So I don't think we'll stick with it. Okay. Yeah. But now I'm thinking about it, the submachine gun is technically a little harder to get. It's it was what we got for killing the final boss with the samurai sword. So I didn't even remember that. So we kind of just got that by accident. Just happened to run out of ammo. Yeah, here we go. Here's the flashlight. Alright, we'll pick up some stuff just in case we ended up needing it. There we go. Oh, what sort? I'm trying to think. I wonder what happens if you do ignore the flashlight. I assume you just can't, but like maybe there's a puzzle. Yep, scary toilet. Maybe there's a puzzle. There's something where it's like, oh no, you need a flashlight to open this. I assume that's the only way you could really log progress. Alright, we'll see. Origins also has quick time prompts, like enemies can grab you, which means you'll have to like mash buttons and wiggle sticks and that kind of nonsense when you get grabbed. And then there's like the stamina system they tried to expand a bit, because you actually you have to worry about, there's energy drinks I think you can take. And the other thing I remember is there's an enemy that, oh yeah, there's something you can, it's either an unlockable or it's an item that you can increases your run speed. And even with that, there's an enemy that for some reason always seems to hit. Okay, I got the Hannah, I remember that. There's a bulletproof vest, but probably won't be using that really. Okay, we're not getting in there. Okay, where else? Alright, go back around. Oh. It's so weird going through the game like this. I mean, it's a reward for killing the final boss with a melee weapon, so fair enough. And I think as well, Origins has slightly different controls, where it's... I'd have to get hands on it, because I think I tried it once, very long time ago, but I don't remember what it feels like. But apparently the controls are... like, they're not exactly 2D and they're not exactly 3D, they're somewhere in between. Okay, that's locked. Where have we been? Huh. We've missed something, obviously. See, this is me. This is my problem. And my terrible memory. I don't remember anything. That was the wrong button again. Let me check my inventory. Let's see what we've got. Okay, we've got the house key. Okay, I remember we need that. But what room is that? Where we need that. Oh, let's go through, because I need to find that room. No, that's where we got the flashlight. Yeah, Heather, you catch your breath for a second. No, it can't be that way. Oh, there is a locked door there. Okay. Okay, let's go back. The main issue, obviously, with Origins is it was, for, you know, I think that was already a sign of what was happening with Silent Hill. Like, you really think about it, like how good those games were. Like, obviously they weren't crazy selling things, but you know, they were going internal, and then they went with like a less skilled team within Team Silent, and that didn't pan out very well. And then I don't know how it was Climax LA were the people originally making Origins. Climax is a UK based studio. It's been running a while, but they also had a US studio, but I think they were more recent. But I don't think they had done anything to really earn them, you know, that made them deserving of like, oh yeah, these people can make a sequel to Silent Hill. Like what horror games have they made? And then that ended up just repeating throughout the history. So yeah, so the LA one started it, and that turned really bad. And then there were what was it? It was some big bankruptcy thing happened. And basically the LA one got shut down. Why am I blanking on where we're supposed to be going here? I'm just gonna have to check some rooms again. Because I remember there's that ladder that you have to pull up. I just don't remember what room it's in. Okay, it's not in this room. All those doors are locked. Yeah. And let's look at this area again. You know what? I think I know where I'm being stupid. No? Okay. I thought I knew for a second. Yeah, that was it. I'm surprised it didn't trip me up the first time. Because that door doesn't have an icon on the map. Yep. There we go, skip that. So yeah, so with Origins, the UK team took over. And when that happened, Konami said, we're not going to give you any more money. We're not going to give you any more time. With whatever money the US studio had left over and time, you have to finish this game. And it's a prequel to a game that didn't need a prequel. And these pre-rendered cutscenes that I don't know if Climax LA made them or if a different studio made them, you have to use. And that's why specifically those pre-rendered cutscenes is why there's massive plot holes in that game. The story is really nonsensical in Origins. Like, even when you try and ignore how it doesn't fit Silent Hill 1's events at all, even if you look in its own events, there's a specific cutscene where you it's the only way to describe it is it looks like an Egyptian tomb, but it's not really explained how you get in there, and a lot of other weird things. It's just confusing all over the place. And plus, there's a lot of parts in Origins that are just, despite it being a cult-focused story, they also made a B plot that's just Silent Hill 2. Again. But that would be a running theme with the Western games. Like, oh yeah, we love Silent Hill 2, and Silent Hill 2, wouldn't it be cool if we make games where multiple people went to the town and they face their inner demons and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh no, because then you're just doing what you've already done. It's not going to be a twist because we've seen that story. And then we've got Homecoming after that, which, oh boy, that fucking game. Okay, I think that last door there's locked, but I just want to do my due diligence. Because the more I check them, the more I'll start to learn which doors do actually work and which don't. Okay. Alright, let me check a few of the doors in here as well. So how that's kind of the question that I look at when it comes to all the Western ones, is you look at how dev teams got those projects, and there's just a lot of big questions. Just how that doesn't make sense. How Climax even got the contract in the first place is just confusing, because as far as I've looked up and remember, they didn't have anything to show that would have shown Konami, oh yeah, these people can make a Silent Hill game. And Double Helix, that's a really confusing one. So Double Helix was two studios originally. They were Backbone Entertainment and Shiny Entertainment. And I mainly know Shiny. I think it's Shiny. I can't remember if Backbone worked them as well. Shiny made the two Matrix video games. They made Enter the Matrix and Path of Neo. And either Backbone or Shiny made Mark Echo's Getting Up. Contents Under Pressure. That's the full title. You have to say it every time. Get it right. Which is a game I really like. I'm not going to say it's a good game, but I really like it. Okay, I guess this way. Oh, guess not. I don't know, have I picked some? Oh yeah, I've got the walnut. So I need to find a way to crack that open. No, let's just heal. That's nice. Okay. Oh yeah, we got those stairs to go up. But they at one point got merged into one big studio that had multiple teams within them. And they got the contract for Silent Hill because they watched the movie and then they made a tech demo of them making a room that had it was a replication of how the Nightmare Otherworld transformation looked in the movie, and one of the movie nurses coming out of like a bathroom stall. And they got the contract from that. They were just, here's a tech demo. And that's it. And that's kind of funny because, there we go, got cookie. There are some other studios that did try and get Silent Hill games made where they had made tech demos or pitches and whatever, and Konami, I'll get to that in a second, but it doesn't make sense when I talk about all the different studios they did. So yeah, so they let Double Helix do it. That had absolutely, they hadn't made any horror games up to that point. in when they were two separate studios, or when they came together, just none, like no experience whatsoever. And that shows, because what they made wasn't a survival horror game. It was a weird, like, linear game with terrible Zelda combat that was made by people whose again, it's shocking how that game came out, because you look at how the game looks and sounds and plays and everything like that. No part of it comes off like the people making it liked Silent Hill in any way. If you look up what the original story was, because there's a bit of a drama with the game where there was a different producer. I don't know if he was a Konami producer or if he was a Double Helix producer, and I don't know if they've ever actually said, but Tom Hewlett talked about this because he was on the project. There was this other producer, and he was making the game a certain way, and Tom had spoken up at some point about the original story pitch, and the original story pitch was so Alessa was somehow came back to life as a child, and she was evil, and she was trying to take over the town. And then the little kid who's in that game, Josh, he also becomes psychic and powerful and in control of the nightmare. And they start having a psychic battle to take control of the town. And one of the characters in that game is called Elle, and she was supposed to be Laura from Silent Hill 2. And Heather from Silent Hill 3 was supposed to come back, and she was going to be like, oh, I've come back because we need to defeat Silent Hill. And it was just, and it was going to be a trilogy as well, like this story this guy had planned out. Oh yeah, we got to find a locked door. Let's see. Okay, I think there was a locked door downstairs, so let's go downstairs. And Tom apparently butted heads with this original producer a lot, saying, you know, hey, this is not what Silent Hill's like. Also, yeah, and obviously Pyramid Head, he's in the final game, but he was going to be in the game a lot. And I think much like in the movie, he was going to be Alessa's monster that she controlled, or something to that effect. And Tom had butted heads with this producer a lot, and I guess that guy got tired of it, complained to Konami, and then he got taken off the project. But then development was going so bad that the original director or producer, I think producer, got fired, and then they put Tom back on, and Tom had to try and make something tangible and that made sense out of whatever time he had left. And you can also see that in that game, because there's a lot of weird plot holes. It's not explained in the game where the nightmare even comes from, because, you know, there's supposed to be a person or something projecting the nightmare, right? In Silent Hill 1, it's the unborn god in Alessa, and then the town comes tainted. So now the town's own power, the mystical power that's talking about, you know, it was a sacred place for the natives who used to live there, and then the cult came in and all that stuff. And then in Silent Hill 3, it's the reincarnated god that's inside Heather that Claudia is, you know, powering. Not Claudia, yeah, Claudia. And then in Silent Hill 4, Walter is doing the 21 sacraments to create his own dream world, and that's affecting reality. Origins, it doesn't make sense because the other world shouldn't exist yet, so it doesn't matter who was projecting the nightmare because it was no one. That game very thoroughly has no reason to exist because its story. Huh. Maybe there was an item there in the first playthrough, because I'm trying to figure out why is the camera so focused on that. It's like, look at me. Interesting. Okay. So... And yeah, just Homecoming. I've played bad games, and I've even played some bad games all the way through. Homecoming is probably, like, non-ironically, one of the worst to play games I've ever played. Oh, weird. I think there was a puzzle you do on... Oh, it's just gone. That's why that camera was pointing that way. You don't have to do that chemical puzzle at all on this difficulty mode. That's really interesting. They just take the puzzle out completely. Fair enough. Sorry, that caught me off guard there. So, yeah, I've played Homecoming on 2 times. One of my sisters had a copy, and she obviously was having a miserable time with it. She's like, hey, can you play this for me and do some stuff? And it was the sewer section, and it did not take long for me at all to figure out that all the enemies in the game could be stun locked by specific weapons. So all you had to do, there was 3 melee weapon types. There was a knife, there was a pipe, and there was an axe. And each enemy, all you had to do was find a weapon that if you attacked with it, it would stun lock them, and then mash the button, and that was it. Because there is a dodge mechanic, and there's a counter and charge attacks, and it doesn't control very well, despite the whole thing and being like, oh, we're going to put like cool Zelda combat in, which is like, if you're like, oh, we love Silent Hill, it should play like Zelda. It's a warning sign right there. Maybe you shouldn't have hired them. But in the final game, it does not control very well at all. So honestly, the best way is just to figure out what the enemy weaknesses are, and just do that instead. And also, all the like indoor area, the stuff like this, they're linear. There's only one path you can take to get through them. Okay, I'm gonna go back because I missed some doors there. Because I gotta find that vice to break open a nut, and I don't remember where that is. And the sewer section specifically is just, it's a straight path, you run down, and then there's a bit where there's a character you're escorting, though you don't actually have to she can't take damage or anything. She just follows you when there's no monsters around, and even if there are monsters around, she just runs past them, I think. Okay, that door's locked as well. It's not a door. Okay, that is a dead end. Okay. Something I would maybe do if I was making a Silent Hill game is that I think would be really cool, though I get the feeling maybe speedrunners would hate it, is do something where which doors are open and closed is different every time. Like, maybe try and keep the main path the same, but do something where a lot of the incidental doors can be open and can be closed differently. Alright, here we go. I've never actually killed these enemies before, so we can kind of have a look at them now. They're still really weird looking, still hard to tell what they even are. Okay, let's go this way. go. But yeah, it was just like mind-numbingly boring because it's like, hey, this combat's not good, and the only way to play it is to break it anyway because playing with the way it's intended is janky and awkward and it's not very fun. And there's either you run past the enemies and they're piss easy to run past, or you fight them and they're piss easy to fight. And there's no puzzles. There's like barely any puzzles in that game, and most of the time when there are puzzles, quote unquote, they're just like, oh, rearrange these blocks. Like that, they are like Resident Evil 4 even is like not even as easy as those, and Resident Evil 4 has like notoriously easy puzzles. It's that kind of level. It's just like, oh yeah, these are. Which is a weird thing. I noticed that happened with horror games, kind of that generation. You look at like late 2000s into early 2010s, where just puzzles in those games just became like child friendly, despite the fact they're in mature rated horror games with that's supposed to have like really mature themes and things like that. And the other bit I played of Homecoming is there's a Hell Hospital section, and then at the end of it is a boss fight. And the boss fight, so boss fights you can't cheese, you can't just use the oh, you can't just stun lock them, and they you know much like the much like how the combat is Zelda based, the boss fights feel very Zelda, just without, you know, like the unique weapons and gadgets you get that change up the mechanics. And the things I specifically remember about that boss fight was just, I'm playing a Silent Hill game, and it has like dodges, like side rolls and dodges, and this boss has phases and attack patterns, and it has moves where it can knock you to the floor. Like, you know, it has like knockdown moves, and you have to do like this animation to get up when you're knocked down, and all this just really bad stuff. And the other thing I remember, this is probably the more damning thing, was that it had broken hitboxes. The enemy's hitboxes for its attacks, I guess you would call those hurt boxes, were bigger than its actual limbs. The boss is called Scala. It's like this doll, and it turns into like this big spine, like spindly giant doll, and as you attack it, it breaks apart and you can see the flesh underneath it. It's an interesting idea, but the visuals don't really sell it because the design underneath the doll isn't actually that interesting. It's just flesh. Oh, but it was, you know. But again, but how frustrating the fight is, having to do like mashing to get up and all the other stuff, and just it was so frustrating. And that's the end. It's some of the worst time I've had playing a video game because it was just so boring and hard to control, and there was just nothing going on in the story in that game. For most of that game, there is no story, and when there is, it doesn't really make sense because it's this weird thing of like, oh, we left the cult, but we're killing kids to stop the cult from stop the gods from coming after us. But that doesn't make sense because, you know, like the god only has power. It's a god born from humanity. It only has power in the world once it's been born, or it's, you know, like half born. And also, like, why do you need to kill fucking kids to stop what exactly? It's not like a thing of like, oh, if we do this we get good fortune. It's like, no, we do this to keep the nightmare away, which that sounds like Silent Hill and the movie stuff, where instead of the cult, they're witch-burning Puritans, and they hang out in a church, and the church protects them. because Alessa's possessed by the devil, like the actual devil in that movie. It's not the, like, granted, the design of the boss in Silent Hill 1 is based off of like Baphomet, but it's not like literally the devil, as the director calls it. And then there's the whole stuff of like, oh, hey, you're the army man and you're there to find your brother, but it turns out you killed your brother and you don't remember, and also you were never in the military. I think she's only in the first one. I think the thing that bothers me more about the movies is that because the second movie was so bad, people now insist the first one was good. It's like, no, it wasn't. We all agreed it wasn't good when it came out. Just because it wasn't as bad as that other movie. Like, all it did was just copy random monsters and imagery from different Silent Hill games. Specifically, like, not even Silent Hill 1. And copied, like, random music from them. And granted, like, the special effects were really good for the time. And it does a very good job at copying those things. But as an actual movie, and especially as an adaptation, it's not a good story. It's not very accurate to the thing. Like, yeah, I'll give it credit for that. Like, the practical effects, though there is some CG in it as well that doesn't look very good. But the practical effects do look really good. But it's, you know, if you consider that, oh, what's the, like, biggest draw of Silent Hill? And it's its story and its imagery and whoa. Oh my god, that was quick. And we're on normal still. I guess the submachine gun is just that powerful. Plus, if at, you know, in the normal playthrough, you'd only have the handgun at this point. But that was very quick. Yeah, but that movie's, yeah, but Dahlia's a completely different character in that. She's not the leader of the cult, because the cult doesn't even exist in the first movie.
What?
She's just like a weird homeless woman for some reason. It's very odd. Which is why I point out to people, it's like, it's not a good video game movie because it doesn't represent the movie. It's its own story. It just reuses random monsters and imagery and characters from, you know, from the games. I just want to have a quick look around. Yeah, but then it doesn't need to be called Silent Hill, does it? Like, they just, if you were going to be like, okay, we want to make a Silent Hill movie, but we don't want to do it faithfully, then it should have just been an original story, but be like, oh, this is a side story in Silent Hill thing. Or maybe tried the, what was it? The Shared Memories route, where it's like, oh, it's a Silent Hill game, but it's in its own universe. It's you know, it's completely unique in that regard, and I think, you know, it's a fine way. And frankly, all the Western games should have done that, just because every time they did try and tie into the originals, they did a terrible job. They're like getting key facts wrong or mechanics wrong, or, I mean, the ending doesn't make sense if you understand what Silent Hill is, because the movie presents it as, no, they're just in a different universe, which is not how the you know, as we've shown, that's not how the game is. You can't be running around the same town and it looking fine while someone is in the same place, like literally standing in the same place. You would still see each other. Just, you know, Silent Hill 2 shows that Laura and James can interact, and Laura can be on the other side of a door while James is in a room with monsters as well. And then the sequel, because the sequel tries to actually tie it. That's the thing. That's the funny thing. The second movie is actually more faithful to the games, but it's also just a worse written and directed and cheaper movie. But it was weird where they tried to make it more faithful to the games, but it still was canon to the first movie. There's Minmo again. There we go. We can zoom in. Minmo, you shine on, you crazy diamond. But yeah, Homecoming really comes off the people who made it. They knew like random stuff. There's like, oh, we know there's a character with this name, and we know who Alessa is, but based on that original pitch, they thought Alessa was the movie version. It's the only explanation. And who knows what they thought of Laura. But it doesn't make, like, why would Laura come back? She has no reason to come back to Silent Hill. But they were like, oh, let's just bring Laura back. Oh, fan service. Because that's what people want, right? But yeah, the only worth Homecoming seems to have, and man, it really upsets me when people insist on, oh no, Homecoming, I like that game. You know, that's in my top 3 or 4. It's like, what? Shouldn't even be in your top 10, and I think there's not even 10 Silent Hill games. Like, it's not a good video game. I don't care how much you like Silent Hill. Or you're like, oh, people just don't like it because it's not like the other Silent Hill. It's like, no, it's a bad game. It's not well made. It looks bad. It plays bad. It's written badly. Just, there's nothing redeemable about it. And considering all the, like, underappreciated and underloved video games out there, you don't need to go to bat for Homecoming of all video games. You know, there are games that are amazing that only like a few thousand people have played. That would be great if more people knew about them. Or you look at God Hand, which, you know, didn't review very well and got lambasted by IGN and barely marketed, to the point now where copies of those games are like hundreds of dollars or whatever, depending on the condition. And people are like, oh yeah, Homecoming, that's the game I'm going to tell everyone is good. Here's the thing. I always say this. I know it might just be you listening, Clarice, but, you know. But, like what you want. Enjoy what you want. If a game is bad or not, doesn't mean you can't like it, you know? But don't insist that because you like it, it must be good. Because that's just toxic. That comes off to me as someone whose self-esteem is in a weird place, where you feel like a bad person. God Hand has some writing that like humor that doesn't age well, but in terms of like mechanics and there's like some of the goofy stuff is amazing in it. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, just because a game's like poorly made doesn't mean you can't enjoy it, but it doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it well made. Is essentially it. You know, if you're someone who can eat like cheap, convenience store frozen pizza, that's fine. But that doesn't mean that pizza's as good as going to like an authentic Italian place where someone hand makes it. Heck, that's what my dad was like, where he would buy really cheap, no brand food, and if it was you know, not completely garbage, it was like, oh, that's as good as the biggest brand names. That's as good as the premium stuff. It's like, well, it's not, because it's made cheaper. It can't be as good. But so people always talk about, oh, if I would ever stream like the bad ones. Homecoming is one of the ones where it would maybe take quite a lot of convincing to get me to play it. Just because I have played it and it was such a miserable experience. Shattered Memories, though, is a good game. It's not a very good Silent Hill game because it just isn't a Silent Hill game. Yes, it has like names and locales, and it's a very shamelessly just an ad-lib of Silent Hill 2 again. If I was to describe to someone and tell them, hey, I've heard of Shattered Memories, what's it like? And I'd say, imagine you were playing Silent Hill 1, but it was Silent Hill 2. Because that is the premise. It's what if Silent Hill 1 was Silent Hill 2? And that's what that game is. Because they took the like very, not even the like plot, not even the synopsis even, just the setup. They took the setup of Silent Hill 1, which is a dad drives to Silent Hill and then wakes up in a car accident and his daughter's missing. And that's the only thing they keep. And then like, oh, we kept some character names. None of the characters are the same. They don't act the same. They don't look the same. They might have the same job, and sometimes they're not even that. And that's the only thing we kept. Oh, and not the locations. Like, we kept similar locations, but the town is this, like, packed residential commercial area. It looks... I forget... I think someone who's American could say, but it's clearly not like a Midwestern town. It's huge. I can't remember if that's different or not. That you could... That they put boards over some of the trains. I guess that's not different. Oh, monster noises. Yeah. Take that. Here's the thing. So I'll talk about it because it is relevant. The development of Shattered Memories. It started as it was still called Silent Hill, but it was going to be called Silent Hill Cold Heart, and it was going to be like a self-contained story. And it still had the same ice theme, and we'll talk about that. And it was probably going to have a similar theme about people living in denial and whatnot. It's like, well, you know, that's already the theme of Silent Hill 2, about not facing your problems. But their ice theme is the whole like, oh, you're frozen in time, you know, just so on the fucking nose. Like, as much as I enjoyed that game, and I do think there are really good parts of that game, it is so. I mean, people have said this stuff before, it's not new, but I'm just going through them all. But there are things to like about it on Shattered Memories. It's some of the best like use of the Wii control style. Some of the worst as well. There's some stuff in that game that's really not, that shouldn't have been in it. Well, we'll see. I am British, so complaining's in my blood. I can't help it. I have to. It's lineage. But visually, it's one of the best looking games on the Wii, just straight up. The other versions, which I have no clue why they were made, why they made a PSP and a PS2 version in like, I think it was like 2011, 2010, 2011. That game came out. It's like, yeah, you don't need to be making versions, and those versions look rough because it was a game made for the Wii, and most of the visual effects are gone. if you're familiar with how Resident Evil 4 looked on the PlayStation 2, imagine that but worse. Because, you know, the GameCube is not even as powerful as the Wii. The Wii is, yeah, a bit more powerful, going down to the PlayStation 2 and then the PSP. And that gives you an idea of the downgrade. Alright, let's see, where are we going now? Yeah, we've still got some places to check out. Hey, if someone buys me a quest, I'm paying for it. And that game has the same issue where the puzzles in that game are... Oh, I was talking about the motion stuff. Like, so one of the cool things is they use the Wii remote to represent your flashlight, and you point, and that's how you move and look around, and that feels really good. It's got a real like tactile feel to it. I mean, I want to try VR. I mentioned that in one of the other streams. It's just I need the hardware for it. So that's a long ways off. Alright, let's see. Oh yeah, this is the... It's the train with the shotgun on it. Yeah, it's your birthday present, Heather. Come on. You know, trust me, there's a lot of questions about bagheads that the committee doesn't let me answer, but I do want to try VR. So let's just leave it at that. But then Shared Memories has these like, oh, mime the controls. Oh, you're in a wheelchair. Mime pushing a wheelchair. Oh, you're swimming. Pretend to swim. Like that stuff. And especially in a game that's supposed to be mature and talks about like sex and drugs and peer pressure and people dealing with loss and things like that. It's like, and that was always a thing that plagued the development of that game. For some reason, going into it, Climax UK said, this game, we're making it to be casual friendly. It's supposed to be a very casual game. It's going to be very easy. And it's like, but by casual, they made it kid friendly. But then you made kid friendly gameplay, but then not kid friendly subject matters. So it just comes off like tonal whiplash. And that game doesn't have puzzles really. There's like a few, but there's barely any, and most of the time it's just, oh, the Wiimote has motion controls, so interact with this thing, and that's the puzzle, is you learn how to use a Wiimote. It's like, well, if you've got this far in the game, you already know how to use a Wiimote. You know, it's stuff like, oh, you need a key for this door. About 3 meters away from the door is a park, and there's some soda cans. And you have to pick them up and shake them, and one of them has a key in it. It's like, that's not a puzzle. It's just trial and error. I mean, at least that's better than Homecoming. I'll give him that. That kid's at least not playing Homecoming. That kid told you their favourite game was Homecoming. Slap that kid. Sorry. But I'm kidding. But who the heck is like giving children copies of Homecoming and being like, here you go, Junior. You said you like video games, right? Well, here you go. Someone who clearly hates the kid. Because otherwise, why would you, right? And yeah, so Silent Hill Shared Memories keeps that cold hard pitch. So I mentioned that, so it was called Cold Heart, and it was, yeah, it wasn't going to be this whole related to Silent Hill 1 in any way. It was just going to be... It was just going to be its own story, but it was going to have the same ice theme and everything. And Konami higher-ups said, oh, but we want you to make a Silent Hill 1 remake, which I don't know why they just randomly decided that. But for some reason, that's just what they wanted. They're just like, oh, well, can you just do that instead? So they saw their pitch. They were like, hey, we like the pitch, but can you do something completely different? So what they did is they took that game and then they pretended it was a remake of Silent Hill 1, and it's not. And it's definitely not a reimagining because it's, again, as I've said, it's a different plot. The plot is different than Silent Hill 1. The characters are different. The locations are different. Even if it was a reimagining, it would still be a storyline about the cult. You know, with what, and, you know, like the birth of a demon god and all that. But that's not what Silent Hill Shattered Memories is about. Silent Hill Shattered Memories is about someone who wanted to turn Silent Hill 1 into Silent Hill 2. That's what that game's about. And not even Silent Hill 1, just like the setup of Silent Hill 1. So, but if you go into it knowing that, you go in, okay, this is mechanically not Silent Hill, thematically it's not Silent Hill, it's just a game made by people who like Silent Hill, you have a better time. And the psychological profiling thing it tries to do, where it's like, oh yeah, this game reads you as you play it and it changes things, is kind of fun. It's admittedly not very original because it's literally what Silent Hill 2 does, and it does it better. And the changes are very on the nose and very easy to figure out what they are. You know, I think I was supposed to check that door, wasn't I? The one on the platform. Yeah, because Center Square is where I came from. And it, like, some of that stuff's interesting. Of like, oh yeah, if you look at certain things and you say certain things, stuff changes. But again, once you've played it once, even if you don't play it again, if you just play it once, by the end of the game, you like, oh, you can tell what changes what, and half the changes don't actually make that much of a difference to the game or the story or what changes. Like, it'll just be, oh, this character's a different outfit, and that's it. Or, oh, you'll go to, when you go to this store, it will look slightly different, and things like that. And it's not that dramatic, or that a character will say something slightly different, and then the one monster that's in the game, again, will look slightly different or something like that. Oh yeah, okay, Bergen Street Platform 3. So, okay, to reveal it, when I started the game, it was geared towards the sex ending, just to be blunt. But by the end of the game, halfway through the game, it changed. And it became the, I think they call it the family. It's basically the good ending, where you get the family ending. Because it started out like you start out, and the Sybil is the first change you see. And she had the, like, open shirt blonde design. But by the time I had met up with Dahlia, she had, like, oh, you're just a normal person design, basically. And I got the, like, good ending. There we go. So, I think it just, I don't know specifically, it was just, no. But, if you wanted to try for an ending, it would be very easy. The only one that's kind of tricky to get is, well, you know how, if you'd have to kind of mess with the system to get it, is there's an ending, basically it's called, I think it's called like the denial ending, and what you have to do, technically there's two endings, because there's like, what you do affects two things. It affects both the like conclusion to how the main character deals with the twist, which again you can kind of, if you've played Silent Hill 2 and you can tell the people who made the game love Silent Hill 2, you saw where it was going, so that wasn't much of a, you know, revelation. And then a VHS thing that shows you how a certain character was in the past. And so different things you do, so you can get like one ending but then get another thing, so you can still get like the good ending but then get like the sex ending at the same time. And there's a in denial ending you get basically, and to do that you have to basically, when you do the therapy things, you have to not engage with them sincerely, which is kind of clever. Like if there's a questionnaire, you have to just hit all yes or no. And if the guy ever asks you like, oh, here's some images, do they remind you of death or do they remind you of life, and you just put them all in the same side, and you don't spend very long on the puzzles. There's a bit where you have to color in a picture, which normally all it does is it changes the colors in the next scene, but if you just scribble all in one color, just the whole picture, or do it all in black, that will tick towards that ending. So that ending's kind of smart, but most of the other ones, it's just very obvious. It's just like, oh, if you talk about alcohol or if you look at alcohol, you'll get that ending. If you talk about sex or you look at sex things, and so on and so forth. And I think there's another ending, but I forget what the requirement for that one is. But I know what the ending looks like. It's one where, but you know, I won't. That requires actually talking about the horror game. So I won't, just in case anyone ever plays it. So it's an interesting game, but it's not a Silent Hill game. But you can tell that after Climax made Origins, and it's so badly misstepped trying to be a prequel, and also there was no reason to make a prequel. They were like, well, we're just going to do something that's non-canon, and I think that worked out for the best. And then you've got Downpour. And Downpour is just... okay. So, Climax LA, I don't know how they got the job for Origins, and they somehow got it. Fair enough, Climax, when UK finished Origins, they already would have had a working relationship with Konami, so fair enough, they went from that to working on another Silent Hill game, fair enough. Helix somehow just showed them a tech demo, and that was enough to convince them. And then Downpour was made by Vatra Games, which was a studio made up in the Czech Republic, and in about 2009. There's a bit of confusion around that because Tom Hewlett claims in 2008 he was talking to them, but Wikipedia claims that the studio didn't exist until 2009, so I don't know what's going on there. And they seem to have almost been solely set up to just so Konami had a cheap studio to outsource to. They were just made up of mainly just ex-devs from the area, like anyone who'd worked in other dev studios there. And they made Russian Attack Expatriate for Konami, which was a really mediocre Xbox Live game that was trying to be like the Bionic Commando Rearmed, but just nowhere near as good or interesting. Just very like of a game. And then they made Downpour, and it shows because Downpour is very unpolished, missing loads of quality of life stuff, kind of shoddily made, has issues, all that kind of stuff. And that game is just Silent Hill 2 again. It's just okay. Oh. It's just okay, well, we like Silent Hill 2. We like the whole, oh, someone goes to Silent Hill 2 and they face their inner demons and whatever, so we'll just do that again. And Straight up, even when you... And they got someone who wrote some of the comics to work on it. That's already a big warning sign, because the comics weren't, like, amazing. So I don't know why they were like, oh yeah, that guy's good. Plus also Tom Hewlett and Devin Shatsky, who were producers, they co-wrote the story. So... Oh yeah, this is different. So you see this is all turning red. This is something you only start seeing on extra get playthroughs. And on hard, or there's a extra difficulty mode you can unlock. These actually hurt you. Which that sounds... Oh, I'm glad I'm not doing hard mode. When I was looking up the extra stuff. Oh, hang on. Alright, I'll fight you guys. There we go. Have to double tap to make sure they're actually down. Yep, there we go. And again, Downpour is very weird, because Downpour is the most unoriginal video game I think I've ever seen. Because its overall, like, plot structure is just Silent Hill 2 without... Basically, the only difference really is that you're not looking for someone, you're just stuck there. But the whole kind of, oh hey, there's something that the main character won't admit to. And not everything's as it seems, and oh, all the characters, they're being plagued by their inner demons. It's like, yeah, we know, mate, we've played Silent Hill 2, everyone has. Let's move. Oh. And they went back, so they took... It's an interesting thing. They were like, oh, we want to make like the best Silent Hill game, so we're going to take all the best bits from the previous Silent Hill games. But they took specifically from the Western ones. Like, they took Silent Hill 2, and then they took all the Burley Haunted Mansion stuff from Silent Hill 3, but then they put it in all the game. They didn't just put a Haunted Mansion bit in. That would have been a bit too shameless. But they took those kind of scares, and they just put them in the rest of the game. It's just like, oh yeah, you remember those like cheeky on the nose scares? Well, we put them in the whole game, and we took like whole sections, like when you're in the mansion and that red mist is coming after you. We just put that in wholesale. It's like, okay. And then it's got mechanics from Origins. It's got the quick time events. It's got the destroyable weapons, and then it's got the chase mechanics from Shattered Memories, because that was the whole gimmick with Shattered Memories, was like, oh yeah, you can't fight, you have to just run away, which, oh, that's on the nose. I wonder why. It's because you know, you're running away from your problems. Oh, interesting. And the mechanics from that are just recycled in. And then a lot of the like linear design and busy work in Homecoming, where you press button prompts and then you do jumps and ducks, and some of the combat is also based on the way Homecoming feels. And then it also takes a lot from the video game Condemned: Criminal Origins. Like, a lot of the enemy types and even some of the scares are just wholesale copied from that game. And the location types, and some of the mechanics of that game, where you can only hold like 1 or 2 weapons. Like, you can hold 1 weapon, and then, oh yeah, we need the wine bottle, and then, oh, you can store a gun, is Condemned Criminal Origins, and there's some like very specific stuff in Condemned Criminal Origins that Downpour just reuses. And then there's some like weird sources where they took one of the nightmare sections from Max Payne, and that's in Downpour. It's very odd. It's just like, and that's the thing. I knew about they copied stuff from other Silent Hill games, but when I played it, I played Condemned Criminal Origins a few years ago. That's when it really hit me. I was like, wow, this game just doesn't have any ideas of its own. Like, nothing. Everything it does is taken from something else, and it's not taken and done and spun in a new way. It's just wholesale the same stuff, just redone again. And that game also has performance issues. It's on Unreal 3, but it's really badly optimized. It looks really muddy. The game's facial animations are almost non-existent. The voice acting's all over the place. Murphy either groans all his lines like he's trying to be like this edgy loner, or he does like Homer Simpson screams because he talks to himself all the time, and when he's scared he goes like "Ah!" And it's really just immersion killing and goofy, and not, it's like, hey, you're supposed to be being scared, not listening to this guy going "Ah!" and laughing at him. And the enemy designs are so bad. They're just dirty looking people and a guy without a shirt. Two guys without a shirt and a dirty lady and some weird torso stuck to a wheel, and that's the enemies. So, okay, that's the best you can come up with. And then all the technical stuff of like, yeah, it stutters all over the place, has weird loading issues and saving issues. There's only auto saves, you can't manually save. So if you want to go back for any reason or whatever, you can't. The game constantly steals all your inventory from you instead of like balancing the game. So unlike a survival horror game where you're supposed to manage your resources and all that, you can't in that game, because you learn after a while that, oh no, if I try and keep anything, I'll just lose it. And it's a really odd choice. And also you can't skip. Here's probably the reason why I really wouldn't want. You can't skip any cutscenes. And its combat's really bad, because they do the thing where they think that Silent Hill is meant to have bad combat, and the main character is supposed to feel like he's incompetent. So they designed it to be purposefully like, oh, you can fight, and they think the controls are good, but Downpour does not have good controls. If I ever play it, we'll have to talk about it. But Murphy's not good at fighting, so your enemies can like break, can guard, break, and dodge and that, and Murphy can't. Murphy just sucks, and that's the combat. But also, Murphy has recharging health, so it doesn't matter if you're not managing your resources, because you get your health back anyway. It's like, mate, this is supposed to be a survival horror game? And you took out all the, like, the save management, the inventory management, and resource management. You took all of it out. The only inventory management really is the whole, you know, that you can only carry, like, 1 or 2 weapons. But that's artificial inventory management. And also this whole of like, oh, it's scary that your weapons keep breaking, and it's like, no, it's annoying. Like, all the best survival horror games don't do it, you know? And I think what was really insulting is that in a lot of the PR, the lead producer, Devin Shatsky, kept saying that, oh, Silent Hill Downpour's going back to the roots of the series. But it mechanically isn't, and also what he defined as the roots of the series was that it wasn't about the cult. It was like, oh, it's going to be its own story, introspective thing, so we're taking the concept back to its broader roots. is one of his quotes. It's like, that's not the roots of Silent Hill. Silent Hill was a cult series. It's about cults, mate. That's what the first game was about. It's about a demon god and a cult and a psychic girl. Like, Silent Hill 2 is not the roots of the series. It was a one-off they did once. To, you know, to mess with expectations. And you can't mess with you can't do the... Oh yeah, there was a lot of buzzwords things, but it was also just like a plain lie. It's like, why are you saying, oh, we're taking the series back to its roots when you're making a game that plays like a combination of 3 of the Western games, and you're just like those games, you're just recycling the plots structure of Silent Hill 2 again. So, also, one thing you would have to worry about is there's actually a bunch of copyrighted music in that game, so it might actually be a problem to stream it. You'd have to be very careful. Take that. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. It's like we're playing Devil May Cry. See that? We did the juggle with the gun. I'm kind of forgetting every so often that I'm playing this game like this. Is there anything in this room, or is it just a dead end? I think I didn't actually go in this room last time, because I just happened to find the main route, but I think this is just a dead end. I think this is one of the rooms though where like the visuals really look good, like the texture work is still really good for PlayStation 2. Like even if you zoom in, it's pretty good. And the lighting as well. Like it looks a bit funny on the edges. I don't know if that shows up on the stream, because the stream will be a bit darker. And then Book of Memories is not even worth talking about, because that was just Konami were like, oh yeah, you should make a multiplayer like persistent like Silent Hill game for the Vita. It's like, why? No, who's gonna buy it? Not Vita own it. Granted, they made it, they started development I think before the Vita came out, but even then I don't think the Vita looked like it was going to sell amazing. But yeah. And so you look at that and you look at how Konami treated it, and there's an interesting story of that. So you look at those studios who made those games, and they were very... just anybody could somehow get a contract to make a Silent Hill game, it seems, because all Double Helix had to do was just show a tech demo. And that was it. Okay. So there's a few areas... oh, no, wrong button. Oh yeah, I haven't been down there yet. But I've got to go around back to that area, because I didn't go down that area yet. Okay. Well, I forgot the name of the developer, but there's a DS game called Delirium, which was a like first-person survival horror game on the DS. Quite impressive, actually. You look at the hardware and what they managed to do, because it plays like a first-person shooter, but it's got survival horror mechanics. And the developers came out at some point and said that they actually originally made it to be a Silent Hill game. It was originally a pitch they showed to Konami, and Konami rejected it, and the reason was, quote, that they wouldn't give a studio like them Silent Hill. They're like, oh, you're not good enough to work on Silent Hill. It's like, well, why the fuck were Double Helix and Climax UA, like LA, and this startup in the Czech Republic, why were they good enough? But these guys weren't. Like that, I think that's the thing that's most confusing about that story. You look at it, it's like, well, why? Like, that doesn't make any sense, Konami. Why are you suddenly being picky? Which makes me think there was another reason, and Konami just weren't being honest about it. But yeah, it's just weird for them to say, oh yeah, you guys, oh we wouldn't trust you guys with Silent Hill. It's like, well, which maybe there was the opposite. Maybe like, oh no, we won't. Studios that are, you're too good for Silent Hill. You're too expensive. Yeah, that's what I'm starting to think now. Maybe it was more just. I will say that. I haven't played, so I've seen videos on them, but I haven't played them myself. But like, you know, the final products they made aren't very Silent Hill, probably on purpose because they didn't want to worry about maybe Konami saying like, oh, you pitched this to us as a Silent Hill game, and then you, man, that blood effect still looks really good. You kind of can only really see it when you're shooting. It still looks really good. Oh, I've got the fuel, haven't I? Yeah. Okay, where's the room with the fuel? Over there. Well, that's fine. We got to see some more blood walls. Plus, this is a... And it fades away, like, in and out really interestingly. It's such a cool effect. And that's nuts that you would only see it on the second playthrough. Maybe that's a hint about the possession ending, maybe. So, you look at that with Konami of just like, oh yeah, they'll give any old Tom, Dick, and Harry who wants to make a Silent Hill game, apart from if they're good, apparently. So this whole like, oh yeah, they're gonna make new ones and they're gonna outsource again. It's like, well, when they outsourced before, it was really bad. Though, bearing in mind when they did outsource, they were outsourced, but they also had people inside Konami leading the projects. Though it depended on it, because Tom talked about when he was working on Shattered Memories that, oh, but I would, you know, I didn't want to get in the way of their vision. So even though like I was the lead producer, and you can look this up, he's given multiple interviews where it was like, oh yeah, I was in charge of Shattered Memories. Oh, I only, you know, what I had final approval on the game. Nothing went in the game without my approval and all this. But he's also said like, oh yeah, but also if I disagreed with something, I wouldn't necessarily stop them from doing it, because I wanted it to be true to their vision and whatever. Which is like, yeah, it's commendable, but you know, if your job is to quote make the game like authentic, then shouldn't you do your job? But yeah, so that's how all those games were handled, and they went bad. So if these rumors are true that they're just gonna do that again, where they, and it just seems weird to me, this whole like, oh yeah, we're gonna outsource it, we're gonna do multiple games where someone's going to do a mainline game and then someone else is gonna do a game that's its own universe, and they're both Silent Hill games. It's like, well, isn't that just confusing? Like, to do that, like, wouldn't a better thing just to make one game? Why do you also need a game that's non-canon? So, like, I'm with not everyone agrees. If you say this on the Silent Hill wiki, some people get very upset with you. I don't want to see a new Silent Hill game. I don't trust anyone. I don't trust Konami. All the people who worked on these key games seem to have moved on and were like, oh yeah, the series is done. I'd rather see them work on an original horror game. You know, if Iwaku and Ito and Yamaoka, if they, you know, got together and were like, oh yeah, we're just going to make our own thing. Maybe work with Toyama again. You know, like, that's what I'd be interested in seeing. So the same kind of thing with, you know, like, people who have kind of deified what Silent Hills was going to be. It's like, well, it was, whatever Silent Hills was going to be, it wasn't going to be an authentic experience, because most of the people who were working on it admitted they didn't know anything about Silent Hill, and Kojima said he wasn't going to be, oh, I'm not going to worry about what was in the past games and if it's canon or whatnot. So it was just going to be a horror game that was called Silent Hill, which is like, yeah, we got that multiple times. So again, if Kojima decided to make a horror game now he's independent, I would be way more interested in that than him trying to tie it to a brand name that he only picked because it's a famous brand name, you know? So yeah, all these... I really just hope that all these rumours about the Game Awards are just nonsense. And they've changed so many times, but like, you know, the only thing that was really confirmed was that, oh, Blooper Team's going to be working with Konami, and that got confirmed. But I'm still a bit suspicious that Blooper Team wouldn't announce what they would work on. Them just like, oh, it'll be an existing IP. It's like, well, but if you aren't saying it yet, yeah, it just seems weird to me. I don't know if there's a way to look up a kill counter and see how many kills you've got. Here's the thing. So some people on the Reddit said this, where they were like, "Oh, if you just don't like if Blooper Team makes a Silent Hill game and you don't like it, just ignore it and or whatever." And I was like, "But here's the problem. I can ignore Silent Hill games and, you know, like Downpour, because of its issues and stuff. I've seen playthroughs of it, but I've never brought a copy and played it all the way through myself because I would have a miserable time, you know. And when it came out, I very clearly could tell, oh yeah, this is not good. This is not a game I should be wasting my money on. But those games getting made is what cheapened and devalued the franchise so much, to the point where, you know, like, these classic games are physically worth a lot, but I think, like, the actual franchise, if you were to try and put, like, a dollar value on it, is not worth as much. Because there are more bad games than there are good games now. And no one who works on them, because they're all fans who have different ideas of what Silent Hill are, they can never agree what they are. I was talking to some people, and I think on the Reddit some people got very upset when I said this. I'm actually less offended if they kept making casino and pachinko things, because those don't devalue the franchise. They don't mess with the canon. They don't... You know, that's just licensing deals, you know? Like, who fucking cares? It's like some people who were getting upset with Dead by Daylight having the Silent Hill stuff in it, and they've been like, oh, this is non-canon, why did they add Cheryl and Pyramid Head? And it's like, look, it's just a promotional thing and fan service. It's not worth getting bent out of shape over. But some people were like, no, pachinko games being made is worse. It's like, really? You're never going to fucking play them. Like, are you a guy who goes to pachinko parlors in Japan and smokes? No. You're on fucking the Silent Hill Reddit. You definitely don't do that. So, you know, chillax. Oh yeah, it's just a note. There he is. There's a health drink there. Okay, we're going to save here. So I don't know why some people were more offended me saying, no, I'd rather pachinko games come out than a new game that would, you know, shit on the series quality and canon more. Because at this point, you talk to people, you know, who weren't around when these games would have come out and played them, and you'd be like, oh, what's Silent Hill? And they'd be like, oh, it's those shitty Western games, right? Or they'd say, oh, it's those amazing Western games. It's like, man, if you... that kind of person who just thinks that those are amazing games now. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can be quiet for this.
What was it that you dropped? Was it this precious gold pipe?
Nope.
Well then, was it this magnificent silver pipe?
No.
Perhaps it was only this filthy steel pipe that you dropped.
Yeah. This is such a weird extra.
I have finally found a
Oh,
truly
sorry.
honest man. In return, I will give you both the gold pipe and the silver pipe to keep.
It could be inaccurate, but apparently these pipes don't do any difference. They're not like stronger or weaker or anything. So it's just a weird Easter egg. For some reason, someone's just like, oh yeah, we'll just put that in. Alright, there we go. Oh, yeah, I did that last time. There's nothing up there. Okay, where are we? Nope, not going through that way. So that's my opinion on it. That might be a bit of a hot take to say that I think if new games come out, it's worse for the franchise if they're bad than if nothing came out. Again, the only thing I think someone could do now is if someone found a way to release the games in this format. If they were like, hey... Basically, if Sony put something out that was like, hey, this can run PlayStation 2 games exactly how they're supposed to. Like, hardware perfect. Oh, these are actually quite... It is a bit weird, this gun. You do have to aim it, which you normally don't really do with guns in Silent Hill. Though you can aim, like most of the time they'll target enemies who are above or below you. I'm pretty sure. Alright, well, I'm taking damage, so if I am trying to get that ending... But I didn't take much damage there, apparently. Okay. I guess this way? Yeah, that must be the way. But some people seem to be against that. I guess just on the off chance they're like, well, it might be good, or I might like it even if you guys tell me it's not a very Silent Hill game. And again, there have been so many rumours around... You know, like, anytime there are these rumours about the Silent Hill stuff, they always include things like, oh yeah, and Kojima's going to be working on Silent Hills again. It's like, well, why would he? Why would he ever want to work with Konami again? He could just make his own horror game. He doesn't need to... He doesn't need to make Silent Hills, you know? He can just... That game never... I was talking to people... I was talking to people about this. Some people... some Reddit thread on a different... It wasn't actually the Silent Hill one. It was a different one. Saying, oh, what's things that have happened in like gaming that you can't believe? And someone put that, oh, Silent Hills was cancelled. It's like, that was very believable. If you knew the state of Konami and their relationship with Kojima at the time, that was not that surprising. It was like very obvious that they were falling out, and the how far Silent Hill had dropped, that just because they had those big names attached to it was not going to stop Konami from cancelling it out of spite and deleting it off the face of the earth, you know? And some people were like, oh, and they got all these big names and they put all this work into it, and I had to tell people, it's like, actually no. They hadn't got out of pre-production. That trailer they put out was just made from reused assets from like Metal Gear Solid 5. And Junji Ito, who was announced like, oh, he's going to be working on the project, never even signed a contract. He just like went out and saw a movie with Kojima and Del Toro, and that's all he had done. He hadn't done any work. He hadn't signed a contract or nothing. And also in the interview, he pointed out, he told Kojima, he's like, hey, you guys, you understand, I don't know anything about Silent Hill. I don't even play video games. It's like, yeah, that game was going to have nothing to do with Silent Hill. Like, if it was going to do with Silent Hill, Kojima would have fucking hired Masatori Ito, wouldn't he? But he didn't, because, you know, and again, it's not anything against Kojima, it's just, he just wanted to make a horror game, and he's also a bit of a businessman, so he you know, he kind of knew business-wise. Let's see. Just looking up my list of things. Okay, now we're going all the way to the 5th floor. I think it's when we get to the apartments is one of the things we missed. Out of curiosity, I looked it up because I was like, oh, I was wondering about the speed runs, and on the speedrun website, they actually do have separate categories for real hardware runs, which was kind of cool because, again, with the PC one, there's stuff they do there with glitches and extra loading times and things like that. Oh yeah. Well, let's get the silencer again. Why not? There we go. Let's try it, if we can. Oh wait, no, that's the flamethrower. Oh, okay, it does work, the unlimited machine gun. Well, there we go. Or you know, the whole thing's about, oh, they're gonna remake a Metal Gear Solid game, and for a while the remake was supposed to be Metal Gear Solid 1, and Bluepoint were making it, and then Bluepoint got brought up by Sony, and now it's a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, and a different studio's making it. So with all those rumors constantly changing, it's like, well, what do you believe anymore? You know? So, we'll see. But, yeah, if Sony did something like the backwards compatibility on the Xbox consoles, I think that's the only way they could re-release them, because I'm still think with the missing voices in the HD collection and the lack of PC re-releases where Silent Hill 4 got re-released is a legal issue thing, and obviously Konami's not going to admit that, because they all the time were insisting like, oh no, we were in the right, even though we sent a letter asking the actors to sign a release form, which you don't sign if you fully own the voices. You don't need permission. It's so weird playing the game this way. I really can't stress that enough. That playing this game, it's like playing Devil May Cry 2. It kind of feels like, but without it being while being a survival horror game, so you do have to worry about healing and whatnot. But I mean, it's, again, we got the submachine gun because we killed the final boss with melee, and that was luck. That was a sheer coincidence that I did it that way. Okay, nothing there. Let's go open this door. Okay, how long have we been going for? Oh, 2 hours. Shit, I actually didn't realise I'd been going that long. Oh yeah, I have the map. Trying to think how long this would actually take me. Oh yeah, so when I was looking up the times, so speedrun. I think it's .net, the leaderboards, they use in-game timer, which, fair enough, that makes sense. But it was like the UFO ending. The in-game time was 15 minutes? That seems crazy to me, because you have to get the kills, I believe, to get the UFO ending. So... Okay, no, I checked those doors already. But maybe the in-game time is different than the save times. Oh yeah, this room. It's gonna go. Ah! Yep, it's blood. Okay, still don't know where the map is. Okay, the map must be through here somewhere. It's not there. No. Is this it? No, I've got some health drinks though. No, it's a calendar. That's not a door. That's a door. I'm so bad. It kind of bothers me I never remember stuff. Oh look, this is just open. You don't even... No wonder these turning the riddles to easy. That's interesting that it just takes some of the puzzles out when you play on easy riddle. Oh, hang on. Let's check this room. Oh yeah. Come on, dog. There we go. Yeah, you too. Haha. Maybe I should have been counting the kills while I've been doing this. I don't know if that's gonna... if that's gonna be a problem later on that I've not been keeping track. But we'll see. Okay, yeah, can't go on the elevator yet, I remember that. Right, is this where we came from? Oh, I hate not having the maps in these games. It's so much. Okay, yeah, this is where we came in. It's not there. And we check those ones, so... Maybe the map was through here. Let's see. Oh, loading the screen, that's probably a good sign. Yeah, I guess with the speed, because mainly in the speed run, you're never checking the map. You'll go in a very direct route. So maybe that time isn't as unbelievable as I think. I'm already freaking myself out because this trying to. This again, it's just something I'm bad at. And if I was making a game like this, the change I would make is just have it so, hey, if you're in an area and you've not picked up the main map, just have the character make a map. You know? Kind of, you know, like if you're playing a castle, like a Metroidvania style game when the map just auto draws in. Is this just a monster closet? Yeah, it is. That was broken. Broken lock. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you, Clarice, or anyone else, but I have a really silly idea. I don't know if it will ever come to fruition, but I've wanted to make a parody survival horror game. Not like a full playthrough, I don't think, like a really long one or anything like that. But the idea would be, I definitely feel like I've missed the map because what door's that? Oh, okay. So, but it would be like a parody game, and it would be called Tank Controls. And I've not talked about this too much, and it's a thing that only bothers me. I don't actually like the slang term tank controls. It's always, oh no, been that way. Have we been in this room? I can't remember. No, we haven't. Oh, I've definitely missed the map. I'm convinced of it now. Because I think that's the room that Vincent's in. Yeah, there's a samurai sword. I mean, hey, maybe I can get through without... Oh no, maybe not. Oh no, we don't see Vincent until the nightmare version of this area. Still though. It just freaks me out. Not knowing where I've been and where I am. I kind of found it on just accident when I did it last time. Okay. Just very used to kind of like, oh yeah, you find it early on. Okay, well, it's not there. Oh yo, it's iCrag. Yo, welcome. How's it going? I was gonna get UFO ending and then realised I don't have the requirements to get the UFO ending, so now I'm trying to get that, and maybe the possessed ending? And also, I don't have the map of this area, and I'm terrible at running around this area without a map. I was also talking about that I want to make a parody survival horror game, and I'd call it Tank Controls. And the gimmick is I actually don't like the name Tank Controls for this control scheme. It's always bothered me. In my head, this is not how a tank controls. A tank controls with two levers, you know, like you would push both up to move forward, and to turn you would like push them like this and like that, you know. That's how a tank controls. They should be called 3D controls, damn it. That's what Silent Hill calls them. They're 3D controls. So, yeah. So I want to make a survival horror game that actually controls like a tank. You wouldn't play as a tank. I think I talked to someone about this and like, oh, would it be about a tank? I was like, no. That's a bit too much. And I'm pretty sure the map is in one of these areas. It's not in there, I know that. Is it in here? No. Oh, I'm an idiot. It's folded up on the table. Okay. Well, now I can see if I missed any doors. I might have actually done a really good job and not missed any of the doors. Yeah, I've just got to check the fifth floor. Yeah, I was actually pretty thorough and checked all the doors, but I'm not sure about the story. If I wanted to be really on the nose, I would take the piss out of all the games that copy Silent Hill 2 and do something like that. But like maybe like double twist. But the other gimmick as well would be all the silly examine prompts, especially for examining locked doors. It's actually a quote from the Super Best Friends channel when they used to be a thing, but shit's locked. This is one of my favorite like fake quotes for a survival horror door being locked. It's just like, yeah, shit's locked, man. Which reminds me, there is a joke, like examined lock thing in Homecoming, which is tonally like really inappropriate. It comes in like the worst possible bit. There's like an abandoned prison that's been being reused by the cult or something. Maybe the cult or maybe people who are rejoining the cult. It's all confusing. There's also like greenery growing out of the concrete, like not coming through the concrete, like literally in the concrete. It's weird. And you examine a door, or a fence. Yeah, it's like a metal gate with a lock on it, and when you examine it, the prompt says it's locked. Trust me. And it's just like, what? It's like oh you're never opening this one. Trust me. It's like, this is not. I know it's, you know, there are ways to poke fun at yourself, but you know, like, you're trying to tell this serious story. The time to do that is not when you're trying to scare the player and you'd be like, oh, isn't it funny all these doors are locked? It's like, no, it's fine. God, got so much beef jerky. Okay, what's in here? Oh yeah, the dirty bathtub. Okay, I think this is a cutscene? Yeah. Yeah, because you can't check any of the other things. Hey, this is the cutscene where you see that the world changes in real time, and it's not dimensions.
I knew it.
Yeah, we're gonna play this out. I feel like, oh yeah, this shirt with Heather on the front. I looked it up. There are so many costume codes for this game, and I think some that you can't use unless you hit certain requirements. But look, like, you can. Oh look, the world's changing. Reality's changing. We're not shifting into a new reality. It's changing. Okay, we'll skip that now. Clarice was telling me, clarification crayon, as I call her, that she's seen. Look, it's been invaded. What's being invaded, huh? That she's seen Silent Hill playthroughs that are literally of this game where they're saying like, oh, and here's where you go into another dimension. And it's like, yeah, you can see it on screen that that's not what's happening. Come on. Oh yeah, new mic. Yo, my mic sounds nice. Check one. Oh, open door. Oh yeah, these guys. I don't think we fought many of these guys. Oh yeah, Cragio, we've got a infinite ammo submachine gun with a silencer, because we killed the final boss with the samurai sword. Or just melee, any melee counts, but we used the samurai sword because we're cool. Oh yeah, the holy one. Let's just safety save. Okay, where are we? Aha, yeah, this is a room with Vincent in it. Sadly, we're going to skip this cutscene, so we won't get to see him. You got a little glimpse of him there. Actually, I wonder if you have to go in that room. I guess you could skip it, right? I could be wrong. But he doesn't give you anything, does he? Huh, I picked that up at some point. Maybe he gives you the Oxidol? I'll have to try that one day. So I do always get curious of these games, if there's anything you can, like, if you do it differently, you don't have to go certain areas and all that. Okay, broken lock. Oh, this tank control game. The other thing I would want to do is I was thinking, so it would control with dual sticks, kind of like you were playing Katamari Damacy. That's the thing, like, people don't moan about the controls in Katamari Damacy, and oh, but tank controls suck. Oh, I would love if someone did, but just no one... Only really in the indie space, there's a game called Lost in Vivo, which is probably the best, like, spiritual homage to a Silent Hill game I've seen. Specifically Silent Hill 1, it's going for that, like, lo-fi PlayStation 1 art style, but it doesn't really have much of a plot. But yeah, my game, so it would use the dual sticks and it would control kind of like Katamari Damacy. The only other thing is, if you pushed the left stick left and the right stick right, your character would do the splits. It wouldn't do anything, like it wouldn't like it wouldn't give you any advantage whatsoever. And if you push the sticks towards each other, you would do the crisscross. And that's my idea. That's my grand idea for a joke game. I'm not sure what else it would do. It'd probably just be more like little incidental references. I still think ideally the way to get around people who have trouble with tag controls is the minimap solution. It's just my opinion on it. Because again, anytime the camera gets into a fixed position and you aren't pushing the stick in the way you're moving anymore, it's just the worst feeling in the world. I think that's something I've eased up on, that I understand. Well, yeah, but what do you want? Like, that or the controls to be bad? Because, like, that's the reality. Like, that's what you have to pick between, because anytime you want to do anything with a fixed camera angle, yeah, take that. I mean, it would be an accessibility option, wouldn't it? So at some point, it's like, well, this is here for people who just can't, you know? I wonder if I can shoot it. Oh, I can. Oh yeah, because these games and cameras just aren't designed to control that way. You obviously could. I think if you were trying to design a game with fixed cameras with 2D controls, I'm not sure if you could. Because I think even if the camera changes were not instant. You know, I think I picked up the matchbook last time and I don't know what it does. Oh no, I remember. This does do something. No. It was Douglas's notebook that I was curious about. Maybe you're supposed to take it back to him and give it to him, and you get an extra cutscene. I could see that. Alright. Okay, we got door here, door here. Lock door. Lock door. In some ways, it's kind of a relief sometimes finding a locked door, because it's like, oh, okay, I don't have to go in there. There's not another... Yeah, I could see that. Alright, just 2 more doors there. That's another thing Downpour copies a lot, is that whole like the weird wheelchairs everywhere. Which, fair enough, but they kind of do it on the nose because they even make it like a key plot point. Whereas I think in original Silent Hill it's just meant to be a bit unsettling because wheelchairs just lying around everywhere with no one using them is a uncomfortable image. Hold on, I want to check this door. Okay, it's locked. This is a weird story. When I was living with my sister about a year ago, and we played through Resident Evil Code Veronica X, and that doesn't have any alternative control scheme. And she's normally fine because, you know, she played these when I was a kid, all these kind of games, and was really good at them. But when she was pregnant, and this is a weird thing, but I've heard like some people's hormones can be all over the place when you're pregnant. She couldn't. For some reason, just what the chemically that was doing to her body made that impossible, where she just couldn't handle doing that control scheme. I think that experience as well kind of opened me up to the idea of like, okay, there are reasons that could... Oh, let's hope not. No, it's just... It's more that's an example of someone who I know can play games with tank controls, but still certain things can happen to you that can make you mentally just not process it. Alright, here we go. I'm trying to think how long it would actually take me to do this in one stream. Problem is just I don't remember the key path. And it would be good if I did, because I don't actually need that many health items. Just because with this gun I'm just destroying everything. Plus I've got all the ammo. Depends on the game. Oh. Well, there we go. We got to see that. Fun facts, the Silent Hill 1 has pits, but you can't actually fall into them. But there is unfinished code in the game that seems to suggest that it was a planned feature at some point, but it was removed. And I'm guessing because the movement in Silent Hill 1 is... there's a bit more momentum to it. It's not quite as smooth as Silent Hill 2 and 3. Harry has a bit of weight to him. And he has a bit more time, like, to start up moving and to stop running. Like, you tend to bump into a lot of walls in that game, just because he takes so long to slow down. So they might have took it out for that reason. And then with 3, they're like, oh, well, this is smooth enough now, we can... Or maybe it was just cut for time, but, you know, considering it wasn't in 2... But, I mean, I have that with certain games, like, I think some character action games, if you're out of practice, like, you can keep the basics going, but a lot of the advanced tech, you can definitely... If you haven't played for a while, you can lose your edge. If you learnt the timing for some of the more advanced stuff. Okay, so that needs an actual key. And so does that. Okay. So, can't even do this yet. Back in the elevator. Yeah, now I'm thinking about it, if you did know exactly where you were going on a first playthrough, I could see... Not a first, but just a playthrough in general. I'm trying to think of what the fastest times could be. It's like, yeah, you know, it could actually be really quick. Especially if you're playing on beginner, you know. Oh, okay, we've already been to this floor. So, floor 1 I've got to go to. But yeah, so my rant about tank controls in that game is because I don't like the name. Like, I partly get why, but I think as well because for a lot of people it's meant as a disparaging comment, because it's meant to sound like, oh, you know, because tanks control unwieldy and slow, and it's like, well, that's not accurate. I don't think these games do control unwieldy and slow. I think, like, especially if you do get really good at the movement, you can do it like really smooth. Especially if you actually use the strafe. I don't know if you can strafe if you use 2D controls, actually. That's a question. I wouldn't say it's slow. I wouldn't even say it's unresponsive, really. In fact, if you play some games where... Actually, more modern games tend to actually make movement a lot more weighted and grounded. If you play like Final Fantasy 15 and Remake, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, those games have like very heavy movement. Yeah, but I meant if you're using the 2D controls, how does the strafe even work? That's more what I meant. Yeah, get down. Okay, there we go. I mean, you also probably don't need to strafe with the strafe buttons if you're using the 2D controls. Well, because here's the thing, I'm thinking about it now. When you're using the 2D controls, when you hit the lock-on button, you strafe then. So the only time you can't really strafe is outside of combat. But if you're using the 2D controls, you don't really need to strafe. But the movement just looks awkward, but... Okay, I need to check the... Nope. The map, because I'm trying to remember... Yeah. And I assume... Well, yeah, because there's not much... It's just... It's a mechanic that you don't really need. Well, because think about it. One button is strafe left and strafe right, but if you're able to turn around freely, how would you even map that, you know? Okay, no, it wasn't that one. Where was the room with the painting? Okay, it wasn't floor 4. Okay, yeah, there it is. It's floor 5. Oh, minor thing, I didn't mention it in the first playthrough. That metal gate sound in the HD collection is different. They didn't have that, like, loud crashing metal thing. So in the HD collection, it's just this kind of light... It just sounds like someone closing a metal gate really lightly. It's like... It's weird. It's like, okay, we don't... Either they didn't have the sound, or the sound that was in there they didn't realise wasn't the final sound. Well, I'm trying to think, like, how would you strafe with 2D controls on? Like, how would the buttons work? I don't think they would. And again, when you're locked on, you can strafe. That's the only thing I will say is 2D controls. Well, yeah, but that's because you don't need a quick turn button, because pushing the stick the opposite direction quick turns you anyway, you know? So I get that. But I will say, like, the 2D controls do feel a little better for when you're doing combat, because you can do more advanced, like, circling stuff like this with the 2D controls. Like, you do have to get very good at them. I think especially in this game as well, because when you're aiming, you can't run and move, because that becomes block in this game, unlike in Silent Hill 3. But also you can only run with a few weapons anyway. I'm curious about Silent Hill 4, because Silent Hill 4 has quite a different control scheme, like movement as well, where it's kind of a hybrid, where it's halfway between. I can't remember if you have to read all the fairy tale parts, but I'm just gonna do it just in case. Okay, where are we on the map? Alright. Oh! Oh yeah, these guys knock you down now, I remember. Hi, monster. Yeah, take that. You know, I put it on normal, but I'm actually not taking that much damage, it feels like. If I remember, it's not until quite a bit later. I'll knock that door. Oh! What got me? Oh, there's one behind me. Okay, now... Yeah, now I can heal. I mean, that's fine, because maybe we can get enough damage to get the possessed ending. We'll see. I mean, I don't mind if we don't get it, because it is very quick and there's not much to it. I think it was very much just like a... Oh, you know what? That's just a health kit, and it's just a scare anyway. Well, the third playthrough, if I don't have enough kills, sure, but if I do have enough kills, then we'll just go for UFO. Yeah, take that. It's so fun and silly playing this game with this gun. Especially, man, that first boss died so quick with it. Blew my mind, kind of. Yeah, silver coin. Weird. Oh, I wasn't looking at it right. There we go. There we go. Life insurance key. And where's that door? I'll get out this area first, then I'll look. Stop that, you little shit. Right, there we go. I mean, I'm killing as much enemies as I can. I wonder if maybe hard mode would be better, just because if you've got this weapon and you run hard mode, maybe the enemy count's higher. Plus, if you want to get that damage amount. Because I imagine on hard mode, with this weapon, it's still probably very easy. Okay, that's the wrong button again. Okay, let's go up here. Okay, no, it's not there. I think it's the first floor. Yeah. Remember in little bits. Okay, I don't think this is a thing I'm going to do in one night. Looking at it. It'll probably be like the, when we did the dog ending, where it'll be in 2 parts. Here's the thing, because I'm doing something on Monday, I wasn't sure if I was going to stream Sunday, because I didn't want to be up too late, but I might still. Let's see. Okay, we'll check this way first. Nope, that's all locked. Cool. Well, you know, one thing I have to be aware of is I don't really have like a big established audience to know when the kind of people who want to watch me, when they're around, what days they're free, things like that. I think that's part of the reason why I don't really have a schedule, is I've had some issues where I've not had an inconsistent days where I've been free. And also, I don't necessarily know when people would want to watch me. See, I think there is something in here. Yeah, here we go. There we go. So I think at this point, yeah, we just leave now because all the monsters are dead. Let's see, which door is it? Oh no, I went past the door. You've played this on the PC with the 2D controls. How much have you used the camera button when you've played Silent Hill 2 and 3? Because I think that's another thing where people struggle with the controls. Maybe is they don't realise how much you have to use the camera, and sometimes the camera does. Like, I wouldn't say there's issues with the controls, it's more the camera. Okay, mailboxes in Daisy Villa Apartments by front door. So yeah, so I think there's something to check out here. Okay, there's mailboxes somewhere. Well, that's not a mailbox, I'm just being silly. I assume the mailboxes are on the inside, aren't they? Yeah, it's an American apartment. What am I thinking? Is it? Hang on. Okay. I want to make sure I'm not missing this. Because apparently there's something extra to examine. Funny enough, I think I've actually seen the text. Okay, no, it must be. I'm starting to think. Okay, no, I think I know where it is. Okay, let's see. So yeah, not that one. Here it is. The mailbox is empty. There's no letter from a dead wife or otherwise. Well, I don't have one of those anyway. So I missed that. That's an extra prompt you. Apparently on multiple on the if you've done multiple playthroughs, you still see that anyway. Just need to check something quickly because I've got a bunch of Discord. Okay, let's see. Someone's messaging me while I'm streaming, asking me something I can't help them with. And okay, those are fine. Do people not see? I actually have my Discord open, so people should see that I'm streaming because it shows up on my status. Come on, people. Oh yeah, because we didn't go in through the front door. We went through like a side entrance. Okay. No, I know it does. That's why I'm questioning why someone's PMing me. It's happened a few times actually. Oh, for God's sake, why does it keep doing that? Well. Give him a kick. Silly. Okay, so... yeah, skip some cutscenes. We'll just leave for now. I'm not going to worry about picking up the no, not that way. I'm not going to worry about picking up the stun gun. Okay, I'm going to save again just because I remember last time it took me a while to find a save in the town. Oh no, there's one in the no, so it was later on. There's one in the motel, but whatever. Let's see. I'll get to Brookhaven, but then I might end it. I don't know. But then again, sometimes I've started later in this, and that's when people have been on. It's just I'm trying to think pacing wise because I'm trying to think of like how much of the game's left. Because then it'll be Brookhaven, then it'll be the Lakeside Amusement Park, and then the church. You know, I'm just gonna say over that one. There we go. Just want to check some stuff. Got anything to say, have I? No. Okay. Yeah, equip that. See, that's where we're staying. It's the full map. Which way are we facing? Oh, perfect. What I might do is just get to Brookhaven, save, and then look up some of the costume codes. Excuse me. Okay, so where am I? Okay, I can't see that guy. Yeah, take that. Here we go. I look at this thing, this kind of reminds me... A lot of the Western ones, I'm not sure about Origins, because I don't have it remembered in my mind very well. Downpour puts the fogs, like the fog is so far away from you in that game. It's not even close to this. I think you can see some, I'm trying to think in my head. It's like over 5 to 10 meters ahead of you. It's nuts how far the fog is in that game. And Homecoming's a bit better, but it's still not as close as this. And as dense as this. It's only really dense when it's like too far away from you, and even then. Like in Downpour, you can be at like a giant cross section at like the furthest end and look at the other end and see and shoot enemies from there. Okay, so there should be a poster here somewhere. Is that the poster? No, it's on the stage. Okay. Oh yeah, this one. Oh, so apparently, yeah. The Return of Lady Maria. You know what? I want to find the Silent Hill fans that argue that that's a big canon thing. That's really important. It's like, oh, that's confirmation that Maria came back to life. I completely blanked on that the first time we looked at that. I feel kind of bad. For some reason, it just didn't click in my head that it was... I think because it says it's black hair. And Maria's blonde. Maybe implication that she got turned blonde? Well, the implication is that she was always in the, you know, worked in the club. That's why she had the key to the back door. I think that also, if you count that as a... Yeah, but, you know, remember, like, Maria... is supposed... You know, she's... You know, she's you know, like a fill-in for Mary. And Mary's blonde, naturally. No. But that's, you know, that's the guy's fault. Well, I think as some people discuss of, I don't know how legit any of it is, but some people talk about if Maria is what used to be a person, because there's some stuff in the Silent Hill games of like, well, you know, monsters can turn into... Well, sorry, people can become monsters, like, Leonard here in the hospital. Where, you know, he's a giant monster, but he's not... He will turn into a monster somehow. You know, I'm pretty sure these nurses are using the Maria sounds, but probably not intentionally. I think they just reused the audio. There we go. Got the hospital map. Yeah, I'm just going to go find a save point now. Hey! It's the Jubluba Hooba. The Wookiba Dookie. Oh, look, save point. Jabberinos. Okay. Nope, that's not one. There we go. Okay, I want to look some of these up, these costume codes. I think we'll do that for a bit. No, not this website. Okay, let's see. Okay, extra costume codes. There are so many here. They're all shirts, aren't they? Okay. Well, let's just start. I think most of these are just shirts, though. No, I know that, but I might not actually be able to put that in yet. Okay, so that's one. Okay. I can tell a lot of these were promotional ones. I can tell that. It's not a proper QWERTY keyboard, that's throwing me off. Maybe you could, yeah, maybe the lesser boss thing you can wear as a costume, that would make sense. Can check out these codes together. Okay. Boom. I'm curious if some of these codes might not work, because I think some of these might be regional. Oh yeah, I see that. Okay. Hang on. Wish I could just have my. There we go. That works. Yeah. That takes a very long time to get to Extreme X. You play Extreme and then you have to do it 10 times. It's kind of like it's a weird pull, but those the tier difficulty levels that keep going up in Diablo games, it's kind of like that. Okay. I'm curious if some of these will work, because I want to say some of these are magazines that we wouldn't have got in the UK. Maybe the websites, but if this one works, that'll be really funny, because this is the magazine that's owned by GameStop, right? Because there is no GameStop in the... Yeah, they all work. Okay. Alright, this is an easy one. So yeah, they just must have given these all out to magazines. Oh, I'm sure you can, yeah. You can probably do some... I just would be curious where some of these codes would be found, though. That's what I want to know. Because obviously some of these were probably given out by the websites here. You don't see this much anymore, I feel like. The last time I saw this, funny enough, is, what is that? Hang on. Don't know what this word is. Bloodstained. Had this, where they did a bunch of promotions with people, and there was like unique items you could get. Okay. Man, there are some 2000s era codes here. What? Oh, I spelled it wrong. There we go. Okay. There are so many of these. That's where all the budget went. That's why they had to reuse the town. Okay. Okay, this is a weird one. I'm not sure what I think about this one. So, what does that say? I don't want to say that out loud. So GMR is a company, so it's like GMR owns... Well, yeah, but they put J, so it doesn't sound like you. You know? I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it. But if you say it phonetically, it doesn't... It comes out funny. Did I do that wrong? Oh, it's a capital I. No. You're right. Now you're saying it. I think it's just it's just in that context when you just see the sentence. It just sounds weird. Okay. I'm just going through this full... Well, yeah, that's super elite speak is putting the numbers in. Okay. I'm not being filthy. Okay. No judgment. Oh, I hate it's not QWERTY. It keeps messing me up. Oh, I put that one in wrong apparently. Oh, it's free. They tricked me. Welcome to my my code breaker stream. Break hacking. Man, this makes me want to do a Enter the Matrix stream, but only do the hacking game. And just stream me typing. Okay. Okay, this code... Okay. I'm kind of curious what's up with the second part of this code. There are so many of these. Like, why? And then we can quickly... We can, you know, give these all a look. No! Pickle... What does that mean, Pickle Boy? Okay. And this is all case sensitive as well. And you have to use this cursor. And this is old school gaming at its finest. Okay. Well, I don't know. How would people find out about these codes? Well, a lot of these would have just been websites, wouldn't they? Like, heck, some of these are websites. Well, it reminds me of, this is from a Stop Skeletons. Shouts, if you can see it, Stop Skeletons from Fighting. The they talked about the Nintendo 64 Mario Tennis game had like online tournaments where you would put in codes and it would upload your scores and such. And there were actually codes in the game that never got used that were going to be like IGN and GameSpot tournaments and such that they never got around to using. So they're in the code, but they just don't do anything. Like, you can even enter them. Okay. What this is reminding me of is fucking in Japan, the amount of Metal Gear Solid games that had Famitsu magazines and promotional stuff in them. And then Famitsu would review the games, and they'd be like, "Oh, this is amazing! Oh, this is a perfect score. All 4 reviewers gave this a 10 out of 10." Oh my god, this code fucking sucks. Whoever decided on this code is a dick. Like, what is this? Is this their like password that they were using on their computer at the time? I guess, but like, where would you have found out that you would need to buy the magazine to get this? That's what I mean. I'd understand if the in-game said like, "Oh, hey, you need to go here to find the codes." F. B. F. H. Okay. Peace Walker especially was the really bad one. In Peace Walker, the former editor-in-chief was in print magazine ads for the game, and I think they were in Famitsu, and the magazines in-game were like fake, like they were official Famitsu, but they were like custom-made Famitsu magazines, and then they reviewed the game and they gave it a 40 out of 40, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? And they did it in Death Stranding as well. In Death Stranding, there are Famitsu magazines, and that editor-in-chief, he's in the game. He's one of the like the hologram people you talk to. People talk like, there's always these big theories of like conspiracies about paid reviews and things and all that, and there's not really enough evidence for it. But it's like, well, except for Famitsu, because they just do it all the freaking time and they don't give a shit. They do it with like Kojima's games. They're just openly like, "Oh yeah, you can just put us in. We don't care." And yeah, we love the game. It's probably one of those things where that's not technically a paid review, but that's definitely like quid pro quo of, hey, you're unbiasedly reviewing this game that you shouldn't if you are doing promotional stuff with it. Just because they're nice to you. Okay. We're almost done. 4 more codes. I think the other codes I can't use unless I do specific requirements. So let's keep going. And we can check all these out. Alright, we'll put this one in for you. This one's for you, Clarice. This one's for you, clerical error. There you go. I still think some of the codes are for magazines that just wouldn't have come out in this country anyway. So people just would have been confused putting these in and be like, what's this for? If they didn't have the internet at the time, and some people still didn't. Okay, here we go. This is going to be a WWE Shut Your Mouth shirt, I think. I think the only other games I've had unlockable outfits was like Origins and Downpour, but they were really boring. They were just like, oh, here's a hoodie, here's a tracksuit. It's like, really? That's the best you can do with? There we go. Oh, okay, so we don't need to do these requirements. It's just if you... This is how you would have found the codes. You do it in-game. Just checking all our... Yep, there we go. So, we, there we go. Because that's how we, Yeah. The only reason why I picked normal was just to try and get the possessed ending. That's what we did for the dog ending in Silent Hill 2. Is we... You know what? I'm not sure actually. Oh. That's weird. Maybe... Oh, hang on. Maybe I need to load game? Well, I put all the codes in. Weird. Okay, I didn't get them. Let me check something. Maybe they only show up when you do new game now. Most of those you don't need requirements for. Some you do, but it let me put the code in. It didn't say it was wrong. Let's see. Yeah, here they are. Okay. 13 Yemru est un marque Universal Studios Channel France. Tous droits réservés. Okay. So that's for some French magazine. Now let me go over here. I want to get a good angle. That's annoying that I have to do like new game to see them. Let's see. I need to find like a really good shot. I think a lot of them are just going to be these shirts though. That's going to be our best shot, I think. Yeah, so a lot of them are just... Okay. EGM. Game Informer USA. That's terrible. Some of these shirts are really bad as well. And yeah, some of these are regional. They just put them all in. Bear in mind, because the European version actually came out first. And some of these are terrible. Like Norway, Denmark. Look, they've even put their website in. Okay, fair enough. If these must have been really quick to put in. Well, GameSpy I mainly know because Halo CE on PC use GameSpy. GMR. I don't even know what GMR is. Something wicked this way comes. GMR. Okay, what is GMR? Game Network Italia. Okay. It's not a great one. This is just the IGN logo. Yeah. Official PlayStation 2 Magazine UK. I don't know what that fin is on the front, because I actually used to get this magazine for a while. But I don't recognise what the fin on the front is. I didn't even know they had a magazine. And then there's that. I like the colours, but aside from that. Play the PlayStation Germany. PlayStation Revista Oficial de España. Yeah, these are some 100% independent PlayStation 2 magazine. That's the only one I think so far that's actually decent looking is this one. Okay, so this is original. Oh. Hang on, I've got to turn the camera around now. Yeah, that one's kind of cool. Royal Flush. So yeah, here they just made original shirts. Blockhead. Not a baghead, a blockhead this time. Oh, don't know how I feel about that. They should put baghead on it. The light. You could probably see these probably the best in the cutscenes. They don't show up great here. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is a crazy one. They went to town on this one. Fair enough, that's like one of the ones that's really hard to unlock. Let's see, what's this one? Not that impressive. It's a nice shirt. I was hoping some of these Silent Hill 3 originals were all going to be unique. Don't touch. Okay. And zipper. Oh, that's kind of boring. I mean, the PC version, someone probably has figured something out. Why is this called God of Thunder, though? This is probably... Yeah, this is the one that's the coolest. Just because they are all the same style. Yeah, that's... You'd think they would have put that in, because that's just a model swap, you know? Yeah, let's see if we can see her in a cutscene. That's all I want to do now. And then we'll do the transformation. I mean, fair enough, this is the one they worked the most on, because this one is the one that's the hardest to unlock. Because, yeah, getting to Extreme X, that's, you know, that's 10 versions of Extreme. It's a really crazy thing with all the tattoos and stuff. Especially with how Japan feels about tattoos. Are they tattoos? They kind of are tattoos, but they're very interesting tattoos. Kind of looks like she's got a black eye though. It's just the nature of the game, it's kind of hard to see.
What the hell is this thing?
Alright, well, there's only one more thing to do after that. Okay, I do want to check something. Let's see. Oh, so they tell you this code if you beat extra new game. This kind of comes off as something you would see in like Space Channel 5. Yeah, but she's got a gun. How about that? Check out. This is a sailor weapon. Check this out. Yeah. Well, again, I've got to rack up those kills. Well, there you go. That's all the... It's a little disappointing that the vast majority of those were just vests with different colours and low resolution JPEGs slapped on them. But the God of Thunder one, that's cool. It's a weird name though. And we got this one too. It's annoying that they don't show up in my other save. You have to do like another new game for them to appear. But there you go. Well, because I don't know the main path, that took quite a while. But hey, we got about halfway, probably more than halfway through the game. So all we need to do now is do the hospital. Hospital's probably the longest area, because I think the amusement park's actually pretty quick, and then the church is a little longer than that. Unfortunately, with the PC ones, like it's all 2. That's the one everyone focused on. With all the work everyone's done with 2, because Silent Hill 2 is the greatest ever. People have just ignored 3. It's a shame, because I still think overall it's a better game. Like, whatever if you prefer the cult storyline and the characters or not, because that's going to be entirely subjective. But just as a game, it has a lot of like improvements to the menus and the combat. And 2 as well, just having so little weapons and not that many unlockables. You know, like, yeah, there's the endings, which there's a lot to get there. And plus as well, like the difficulty balancing is a bit weird. Where on normal the game's a bit too easy, on hard the bosses are broken, as we found out when we did Silent Hill 2 on here. So yeah, but everyone flocks to that game. So aside from the fan patches that came out years ago for Silent Hill 3, just to do some minor fixes, no one's done major work. But at the same time, like the PC version of 3 is a lot better than 2. It didn't need that much work. The only thing you would really need is, I don't know if, I think there's already a widescreen mod. It'd just be if you'd want to fix any of the issues that maybe, because I think there are some bugs that are unique to the PC version, and if you wanted to go the full route of AI upscaling and stuff. But I don't think you really need to AI upscale this game. Like, as long as you've got the noise filter looking right. I do want to try something quick. There's a sharpness setting. I just want to see what it does. Because on this menu, I can see it sharpens. I'm just curious what it actually looks like in game. Okay. Do you know what? Oh, bullet adjust is when you pick up ammo. It times the amount of ammo you find in pickup. So if you would have found 10 bullets, you would find times 2 to times 5. So if you're, which can't remember if you have to unlock bullet adjust or not. Some of those extra options you do have to unlock. I think this basically turns off the anti-aliasing, because now I'm seeing like a lot more jagged edges on everything, so I think this actually looks worse. I could be, well, the thing is, I don't remember when I was looking stuff up, they mentioned here's a weird thing, it's like with the sharpness, the menus look nicer. Yeah, this is what this does. So you can, so okay, you have to do stuff to unlock times 5. So maybe by default you can only go to times 1. I'm not sure, but yes, you can. You can give yourself tons. Okay, let me check something. It's not an anti-aliasing thing, but I think the sharpness actually, yeah, you can kind of see. You can kind of see some of the flaws. It's the same issue with the noise effect. When you turn the noise effect off, the image is a bit too clean and it can look a bit weird. Alright. Well, that's what that option does. Alright, well, thank everyone for coming. Anyone who lurked, came in and out for a bit. I'm not sure when I'm going to stream this again. It might be tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, I'll have to let you know. But I'm doing something Monday morning, so I don't want to be up too late on Sunday. But thank you for coming. We'll get through this, and hopefully we'll have enough kills to get the UFO ending. The only way we'll really know is if we beat it, the game, and then do extra new game again and see if we have the Heather Beam or not. And then if we have the Heather Beam, then we can go for the UFO ending. What I might do as well is prep for the UFO ending and maybe write something out that'll tell me like how to mainline the UFO ending, so I don't like waste time checking locked doors and going into rooms I don't need to and backtracking and all that. So thank you everyone for coming. Hope you had a lovely day, evening, weekend, all that good stuff. I've been your host, Johnny Baghead. Thank you for coming to the show, and I'll catch you on the. I was gonna say catch you on the flip side. That makes me sound really old. So I'm just gonna